Steam answers all your burning algorithm questions. Get a real job that pays real money inside Roblox. Google is telling people to eat rocks. Mountain of game announcements in many events, and more. Here's the most important news in game dev, tech, and gaming. Today is the 12th of June 2024, and you're watching the Game Dev Report. So, quick mention before we begin. This is the third video that I'm doing in this Game Dev Report series. I really enjoy making these videos, but they do take a ton of work to make, so it's really not something I can make very regularly, at the best really just once or twice per month. However, news are happening all the time, so that is why I started the Game Dev Report newsletter. It's really the same idea, all about the news in game dev, tech, and gaming, and by being just text, it's easier for me to produce more regularly. So if you want to stay up to date on a much more regular basis, check the link in the description and sign up. And by the way, you can also refer the newsletter to a friend and get some fun bonuses. Alright, so starting off with some quick Unity news. Unite is happening later this year in September in Barcelona. This is their yearly conference. They have actually invited me, so I'll actually be there alongside other content creators. I'll be there alongside Johnny from TurboMix Games, Jasper, Speed Tutor, Useless Game Dev, and maybe some others. So it should be fun, and being in Spain means it's actually a nice short flight for me. This year is the year of Unity 6. They have a new CEO, and they've been trying to course correct these past few months, so hopefully all of it should be really exciting. I'm guessing the Unity 6 final version will come out around that time. I've been using the Unity 6 preview version as I'm working on my upcoming .RTS course, and so far it's pretty fast. I haven't had any stability issues. If you are planning to go to Unite, then there's my link in the description where you can buy the tickets. There's a nice student discount if you have a student ID, and if you don't have a student ID, then maybe you can get it expensed by your company. So if you do go, then I hope I'll see you there. Steam has published an excellent blog post containing a mountain of information for how the algorithm works. If you want to find success on Steam, you need to read through this whole page. There's a ton of information here. They answer questions on visibility, what is the right way to market, how refunds impact the algorithm, how NextFest and ThemeFest work. There's really a mountain of information both in text and in several videos. Steam is usually the most important platform for indie devs, so it is crucial that you know the best practices to help you increase your odds of finding success with your games. I've seen one of these videos before, the one on answering a bunch of algorithm questions. I made my own video sharing my thoughts on top of what they said about how the algorithm actually works, and the other ones also have lots of very useful information. However, on this topic, on learning about how the Steam algorithm works and how to find success, my advice is something that I've always said previously, so always keep in mind what exactly is your goal with your games. If the goal is just to make games for fun, then you don't necessarily need to learn all of this. If you just want to make games for fun, then just focus on making the game and don't really worry about marketing. But if your goal is some level of financial success, or really just getting tons of people to play your games, then it is crucial that you know marketing and specifically how the platform works. So if that's you, then definitely take some time to read everything in this page. You'll learn a lot, which will definitely massively increase your odds of finding success with your games. For some more Unity news, they just put out 2 excellent resources for learning all about dots. I'm currently actually in the process of making my upcoming .RTS course, so I'm learning a lot, trying to watch all of the educational content, trying to watch everything myself. I'm doing all of that so I can teach everything in the course in the best way possible. You can sign up on the course page and I'll let you know when it's out. So Unity has put out 2 resources. One is a sample. It features a super detailed, large-scale simulation of a space battle with tons of teams fighting for control. It is surprisingly detailed in terms of logic. You've got fighter spaceships, there are workers, traders, resources, and various buildings. They have some excellent README files explaining everything. There's one on the core game concepts, the core concepts for how the game actually works, and there's also a really detailed one on how all the code is set up, all of the authoring components, the job systems, clever tricks, and a bunch of AI. This is an excellent sample. You can download it to inspect it all for yourself. However, this sample definitely assumes you have some knowledge of dots, so if you don't already have that, then check out their Excellent Dots ebook. This is a 49-page ebook containing a mountain of information, mostly on the concepts behind dots, rather than individual implementation details. It's really great to learn an overview for how all the components that make up dots, what each of them does, as well as figuring out where in your game you should use dots, or rather, what kind of problems dots is really great for solving. It's a really great ebook, it's completely free, so if you're interested in dots at all, or really if you have no idea what it is, I recommend you read through it. Then, if you, like me, were unable to go to GDC this year, Unity has just published a page with all of their talks. These always have some very useful information, so it's really great how everyone can watch it now, not just those with the expensive GDC Vault access. In total, it's 7 talks. So first, there's the usual roadmap talk. I covered my highlights on this one myself. Then there's one on dots baking, really interesting. There's one on rendering tools in Unity 6. There's also one on Muse AI and how to use it for faster prototyping. how to boost graphics performance, how to use the Apple Vision Pro, and best practices for web games. And now a quick message from our sponsor, which is me. If you want to learn how to make games or make websites, if you want to learn about robotics, electronics, or pretty much just about anything, if so, then learning C# is a super useful skill. It is an extremely versatile language. My complete C# course covers everything from beginner to advanced. The course includes a companion project with interactive exercises and a ton of bonuses to help you truly learn by doing. If you watch all the lectures, answer all the quizzes, and do all the exercises, if you do all of that, then I guarantee that by the end you will have gained a ton of knowledge and be capable of building pretty much any game or anything that uses C#. So if you want to gain an extremely valuable skill, check it out with the link in the description. Now let's move on to the tech news. There's been lots of AI news as usual. OpenAI launched GPT-4o. This is their most complex model yet. It is super fast and naturally multimodal, meaning you can text or speak to it or use some images. The speed is possibly the most impressive thing of all. It has gotten so fast that you can actually have a conversation almost as fast as with a normal human. Apple has just unveiled Apple Intelligence, which is what they call their AI. It is made in collaboration with OpenAI, so this should be an interesting update. Personally, I've never used Siri myself, but I have heard that it's mostly useless, so using ChatGPT on top of it could be a huge upgrade. It also helps you write and summarize emails, it helps you generate transcripts from voice, it has some interesting use cases when combined with the Apple Pencil. At the same time, Apple is all about privacy. They mentioned how the model is either completely local or runs on Apple's own servers, so basically the only difference is they're not training on your data. I wonder if this will be enough to satisfy people in terms of privacy. The other big player in this industry is Google. They also have made some AI news. They had their own event where they showcased quite a lot of things. Instead of going for one big thing, they showed lots of things. But really the biggest news is where the AI fumbled. When Googling for something, it would give you AI-generated responses, and some of these have been quite insane. It's hard to tell which of these are actually real and which are fake, but at least they admitted some of them are real. For example, one of them said that you should eat at least one rock per day. That was apparently an Onion article that the AI could not tell it was satire. There have been other reports based on jokes from Reddit and so on. So I guess in order for search AI to become useful, it first needs to understand humor and sarcasm. Microsoft is working on adding Copilot onto Minecraft so you can talk to it as you play. You can ask it for help, ask it for how to craft some item, what to do at a certain point, get some tips, or really just chat. Since it is powered by GPT-4o, it is extremely fast. The latency really was the most impressive thing when OpenAI first showcased this model, and it really is indeed fast enough for this kind of real-time conversation using voice. This is one of those use cases of technology that is simultaneously fascinating, but also a little bit dystopian. It can definitely make the game more engaging if you don't have real friends to play with, but due to how good it is at sounding human, it can also maybe lead to some weird parasocial relationships with AI. So yeah, definitely pros and cons. Do you want a virtual fully remote job? If so, IKEA is hiring people to staff a store directly inside of Roblox. You can apply for a job, a real job that pays actual real money, £13.50 per hour. The job is similar to what you would do in a physical store. You can help people choose some furniture, walk around the store, and serve some meatballs. Except it's all done inside of Roblox. Now this is definitely some strange news, but not necessarily unexpected. Roblox is insane, and it has been growing like crazy. They have 300 million monthly active users. That's an insane amount. That's double what Steam has. And a lot of companies are trying to reach their massive young audience, and this is really one way to do it. Walmart also already has a virtual store. So basically the metaverse might be a dream for a company like Meta, but for Fortnite or Roblox, it is very much a reality. Now let's move on to some gaming news. We're in the middle of summer in terms of game events. Over the past few days, there's been a bunch of events with hundreds, literally hundreds of games shown. In case you don't know, E3 has been officially cancelled. The conference is dead for good. Now, some people celebrated that, but personally for me, it was really sad to see E3 go. As a kid, I always dreamed of one day going to E3. It seemed like a magical place, but being in the US, obviously it was way too expensive to go, and now sadly, I'll never really have the chance. So anyways, in replacement of E3, we now have a bunch of separated events. It's really hard to track all the games that were shown. If I had to guess, I would say maybe 300 games, and all of them look really well made. Thankfully, Steam actually made a page for each of the main events. You can see all the games and add your favorites to your wishlist. Another thing that always fascinates me is how if you actually read YouTube comments or on Twitter, you can see a lot of people are actually really negative. And yet, as I look at all of these games myself, I just keep thinking, oh wow, so many awesome games that I really want to play, and yet I have no idea how it's possible to find the time to play them. Regardless of what genre is your favorite, there's really a mountain of awesome games to play. Summer Game Fest kicked things off. Apparently this one was a huge success with 37% higher peak than last year. Lots of announcements, way too many for me to list here. Like I said, the Steam page really helps you see the full list. For some of my personal favorites, Killer Bean looked really awesome, very silly, but looks very fun to play. Space Marine 2 is also looking absolutely awesome. I love the first one, I can't believe how long ago that was. Cuff Bus is looking like it's going to be a huge hit with streamers. Now this one is actually by the same developer that made Choo Choo Charles, so clearly he knows how to make games with excellent hooks. And as a Dragon Ball fan myself, I'm really looking forward to Sparking Zero. So far all the trailers have been really awesome, pretty much every single character, every single transformation is included. There's a great father-son Final Flash, so really I can't wait to play that one. Another huge event was the Xbox Showcase, starting off with Call of Duty, which looks like yet another Call of Duty, so super high budget, lots of guns, lots of explosions. The most important bit of news is actually how it will be on Game Pass day one, as will all the other Xbox games. One great announcement that I thought looked very fun was Doom Dark Ages. Using the shield makes it look like it will be a really interesting mechanic. Dragon Age was also shown using their brand new name. Starfield is getting some interesting DLC and updates. We saw a bit more of Indiana Jones. Stalker 2 is looking absolutely excellent as usual. And there's also a brand new Gears of War. Then on Ubisoft Forward, Star Wars Outlaws got a pretty big section showing a ton of gameplay. They announced a brand new Anno game in Roman times. I love the Anno series, so this is awesome. Assassin's Creed Shadows also got an extended look. Personally, I've been waiting for a Japan setting for ages, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Tons of updates for all of their existing games. Prince of Persia is apparently coming out in 2026, although sadly no mention of the Splinter Cell remake. The PC Gaming Show is usually my favorite event. Day 9 is always a great host, and they usually have the kinds of games that I like playing, so games like strategy, management, simulation, and so on. Mars Tactics looks absolutely excellent, just my kind of game, awesome turn-based strategy. Sumerian 6 is actually a game in one of my favorite genres, real-time tactics. I was really sad when Mimimi Games quit, so I'm really happy to see devs tackling this genre. I Am Your Beast is a super stylish game from the same devs of El Paso Elsewhere. Left 4 Dead and Chivalry were two of my favorite games, so I'm immediately very interested in No More Room in Hell 2. Generation Exile is an interesting premise as a sustainable city builder. And Tactical Breach Wizards, this is one that I've been interested in ever since I first heard the initial premise of SWAT plus magic. Beyond those, there were a bunch more events. Dave the Dev showed lots of interesting games as usual. The Wholesome Direct is basically the word cozy in video form. The feature game show had two really great presenters. The voice of Tifa Lockhart and Arthur Morgan, really nice, fun show. The Devolver Direct was actually a little bit more tame than usual. It didn't go as over the top as before, but still really great showcase with just a few but great looking games. And beyond all those events, if you want games to play literally right now, then Steam Next Fest is currently ongoing. Hundreds of demos for you to play, hundreds of developers hungry for your wishlist. And now let's go over to the quickfire rounds. Here's a really interesting idea. It's a game that is both physical and digital. There's a physical flipbook with various shapes and a projector. The digital games are projected depending on the selected page, which contains walls and pipes and various other platformer objects. It's a really nice idea, a unique mix of physical and digital. Personally, I'm always interested in electronic stuff. It's definitely something I wish I had more time to do myself. Do you ever want to be like Michael Scott in The Office doing parkour? Well, now you can make that a reality. There is a game all about parkour. So basically take Assassin's Creed, remove all the combat, all the story, and just push the parkour mechanics up to 11. That's basically Rooftops and Alleys, the Parkour Game. Now you would think that such an idea would actually be quite niche, but actually the game is finding massive success. In 1 week it already has over 1,000 reviews, meaning about 50,000 copies sold or about 750,000 in gross revenue. All of that, and they are at overwhelmingly positive with 98% positive. That's a huge success, which is always great to see, especially for a solo indie dev, and also something that was built pretty quickly with a fast development timeline of just about 7 months. Now, do you want to smell your games? If so, there's something called GameScent. It's a machine with some files that connects to your PC or console, it listens to audio, and whenever something happens, like walking on grass, it puffs some smells into the air. It can smell like a handful of things, like a forest or some black powder, or coming soon is actually the smell of blood, although I'm not sure I really want to smell that. For some fun, how well do you recognize Boxart? Here's a nice game that picks a game at semi-random and shows only part of the box art. You have a few tries to guess what game it is. There's a bunch of customization options, like only from the year 2000 and no sports titles. It's pretty fun. My max streak is actually 24. And for some interesting videos that I saw recently, here's an excellent video talking about GTA 4 and Nico Bellic. Now, if you haven't played it, definitely go ahead and give it a try. Nico Bellic is an excellent character. I still get sad whenever I think about the ending that I got. It's definitely much more grounded, much more dramatic story than all of the other GTA games. Also, it has one of the best intros of all time. This video shows a great overview of how Unity games can be hacked or decompiled, how it all works behind the scenes. Like, for example, did you know that mono C# code can be decompiled almost perfectly? You can actually read pretty much most of the code. This is a fun subject to learn about, learn that it can be done. But as an indie dev, I would also say don't worry about it. And for this one, I love this channel. They've got excellent visualizations to learn how all kinds of things are built. This video is all about CPUs, how they are built, and all of the various pieces that go into it. It's really insane to see how complex modern CPUs are. Alright, so that's the Game Dev Report for today. All of these stories are linked in the description. Like I said in the beginning, I've created a newsletter with this same format, the news for game dev, tech, and gaming. So if you want to stay up to date on a more regular basis, check the link in the description and sign up. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.